Welcome to another cooking video. Today we are going to use this Roma rice cooker that I purchased from Costco. And it has a lot of different functions besides, sorry, my dogs. It has a lot of different functions besides rice. You can also cook brown rice, sushi rice, quinoa, oatmeal. You can make soup in this pot. You can steam, so vegetables and stuff that it comes with a little steamer basket. And you can also use this button right here, which is what we're going to do today, and it's slow cooking. So it turns this pot into a slow cooker. Right now, what I am doing is cooking some ground beef actually first here in the saute, then simmer button. And I just have it in there kind of cooking right now. And what I'm going to be making today is a chili beans, pot of chili beans, and I'm going to make some cornbread. So this is going to be kind of a Hispanic version of chili beans, and I'm just getting the meat cooked down a bit, and I'm going to start adding in some seasonings. Okay, right here I have a combination of tomato and beef bouillon, and I'm just going to add in those, about 2 teaspoons of the tomato and 1 of the beef. And those are both the Knorr brand. That was the beef, and this is the tomato. And so I've got that in there. I'm going to throw in a little bit, not too much, of cayenne pepper. This is California ground chili powder. This one's not very spicy, so you can put a little bit more, and it will give a really nice red color to the dish. This, I am actually almost running out. This is ground annatto seed. It gives kind of a little bit of a smoky flavor. And ground cumin. And I am kind of just eyeballing for most of this stuff. And I will add more seasonings as my cooking process goes on. Here's just garlic salt. It's coarse ground garlic with salt and parsley. And I'm kind of using this a little bit for my salt content. But I do have regular salt that I will be adding in as well. And some ground black pepper. Stir that in. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it is sizzling away. It does cook in here under that saute button. I have not completely worked out how to use the saute then simmer button as far as making like rice pilaf, things like that. Mexican rice. I tried making Mexican rice in here, and it is giving me a little bit of issues as far as timing. I'm not too sure on how long it's actually sauteing and how long it's actually simmering, and at what point that actually switches over from one function to the other. But what I do is use it on the saute portion mostly, and then I will come back and check on it. And if it has stopped making sounds for me as if it's cooking, then I will actually turn the machine completely off and then push the saute button again to turn it on so that it starts over. And so I'm just going to let the meat cook for right now. So I'm going to close the lid. And what I also have here is a little bit of cilantro. Sorry for the shadows. Some white onion. It's probably about a quarter of a large white onion, maybe a third. Some cut up celery. There's the word. Okay, and it does have the leafy parts of the celery. That has a lot of flavor, so go ahead and use those. I also have some garlic here. This was about 3 medium-sized cloves of garlic. 1 tomato. It's probably about a medium-sized tomato. And then this here, I'm all out of fresh chilies to add to this pot, but I have pickled jalapenos. So I actually had 1 left, luckily. So I chopped it up. That's going to go in as well. And I know it's going to seem a little bit strange, but here is the juice from the jar of the pickled jalapeno. Some of that is going to go into my beans as well. And of course, I have beans. They're here. This is about 2 cups. They've been kind of sorted and they've been washed. And those are actually Peruano beans or Peruvian beans. I'm using those today instead of pinto beans. They are a little bit of a milder flavor and similar to a butter bean. They're very soft and creamy. So I'm going to let that meat cook and we will be back. And really quickly, I do want to show you how well this machine is sauteing this meat. So just take a look. It does a very good job. So now I'm going to go ahead and scoot the meat to one side and check out how much water content there still is. I think it's pretty decent. So I'm going to start adding in my vegetables, and for the stuff on my cutting board, I kind of got to go a little bit at a time. So I'm going to put this down for 1 minute and get my garlic inside my pot. Okay, so now we have the garlic in there, and I'm going to add the onions. Give that a little stir. Sorry if I go out of focus from time to time. I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and cook in the other. So this is all going to be kind of like a little one pot thing. I'm going to go ahead and add everything in. Add in that cilantro. And if you did have dried or fresh oregano, that would also be good to add in. I am all out, so I won't be adding that today. Okay. And so now I'm going to go ahead and let that cook for a minute. And I will be back to add in the tomatoes and the jalapeno. The vegetables have been cooking for a few minutes. You can see that they're going pretty well. I'm going to add in the tomato and the jalapeno and be right back. Okay, so I've gotten those in there. And I'm going to just stir everything around. Stir it in. And I almost forgot that I wanted to add in a seasoning. Well, not really seasoning, but this is an empty container that I had. It was for basil. And what I actually did was I dehydrated jalapenos and ground them up in my spice grinder once they were completely dehydrated. And so this is just purely jalapeno powder. And I am going to add that in here. If I could get it out. There we go. It does have a tendency to clump up a little bit. So you kind of have to shake the jar if you make this yourself. And that gives a little bit of a fresh jalapeno flavor, even though it's dried. And since I don't have any fresh jalapenos, I want that flavor in here, so I'm adding the powder. So between that and the cayenne chili powder and the pickled jalapeno, it's gonna give the dish, a pretty good spice. But the reason I don't have any jalapenos, let me set this down for a minute. Okay, the reason that I don't have any is because I actually used them all to make a salsa, which is in here. And so I'm going to actually take a spoon and take some of that out and add that in. And this salsa is really, it's all chili. It's not, that might even be too much. So I'm just going to stop there. There's no tomatoes or anything like that in this salsa, so it's pretty spicy. My family is okay with heat, so I'm sure this will be fine. Okay, so I'm adding that in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the beans. And I'm going to get another clean spoon and I'll be right back. Okay, I just went to get another clean spoon and I'm going to get some of this vinegar and add that in. I think probably about three of these scoops. I believe these spoons are roughly about 2 tablespoons a piece. They're soup spoons that we get from the Asian grocer. Okay. I'm just going to mix everything in. Okay. So now, let me go ahead and close this. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this pot from the saute setting. I'm going to turn on the slow cooker, and that is, I think if you push this button again, sorry, I was out of frame. Okay, if you push the slow cooker button, it automatically goes to high. Press it again, and it goes to low. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cook it on low. I'm going to give it about, okay, I took too long, and it's set. Okay, so slow cook on low, and I'm going to add an hour to that, so that I'm going to go for about 7 hours. Okay, once it blinks and then makes a beep, it's starting the slow cook process. Okay, so I'm going to get myself some hot water to add water to this pot, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to add some hot water here. And I'm just adding hot because I don't want to slow the cooking process down. So I want it to just kind of keep going. So I'm going to finish filling up this pot with the water, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm actually not going to fill the pot up completely to the top because it does feel like there's a lot of liquid in here. But these beans are going to swell to probably 2 to 3 times their size. So you want to make sure that you leave room for that. And you can always add more liquid if you need to. So the combination of the oils from the meat as well as the oil that was in the pickled jalapeno is giving a nice oil additive to this bean broth. And it already smells really, really wonderful. So we're going to let this cook, and then we will come back and check in later. I'm also going to be making a cornbread that's going to go with these beans, but that will be in a separate video. So I'll see you guys soon. I'm back. The slow cooker timer has gone and finished. And I did have a little bit too much liquid for my beans. So what I did was, after it was done with the slow cooker process, I went ahead and turned it back on to the saute button, and that is simmering nicely, and it's actually evaporating the excess liquid that I don't need. And it's pretty much where I want it to be. we like to have it a little bit more soupish so that the juice soaks into the cornbread in our bowls. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for that cornbread video that will be coming up right after this one. And thank you for watching. Bye.